believe we're live. Just need to make sure.
Just kidding.
I'm assuming that's probably it.
Yeah.
We'll kind of sit here acting all funny
There
until
it is.
yeah. All right, so we are live now. I'm Lonnie. Oh,
Sarah.
I guess it's probably good to get this microphone over here. Okay, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Single Sarah.
And this is the our. We don't even have a name for it. It's just going to be the Game of Thrones review, and this episode was called "The Queen's Justice," and that was a very interesting topic or choice of title. You have to excuse me. I'm just finishing off the second glass of wine here for Game of Thrones. We saw a lot of interesting stuff this episode. Remember, if you're checking us out here, we're doing live chat just in case somebody is to pop in and, say hello. But first, thoughts on the episode, Sarah?
Whoa.
Pretty much, it starts with... I thought we were going to have to wait. I really thought that they were going to screw us over and not let us see the first initial Jon Snow walking in to, the Queen's room until at the very end of the episode. I thought that was how it was going to end, and you was going to be, no!
Yeah, that's what I thought from the preview.
But instead, the first 20 minutes of the episode is Jon Snow walking in, them having a good old conversation. And
ego versus ego.
Yeah, pretty much. For whatever reason, Daenerys didn't really seem too keen on being his ally. She wanted him to bend his knee and declare her king or queen, and him to be Lord of the North instead of king. And what do you think? Bad decision? Do you think Jon Snow should have knelt down and proclaimed her queen?
No, I wouldn't have. I thought her ego was bigger than that whole friggin' island.
In hindsight, I would have. But in hindsight, it was a bad idea because Tyrion was there. He managed to talk some sense into her.
I still like ass kissing. I don't like that.
Well,
how would you feel if you went to go visit somebody like, oh, hey, here, by the way, kiss my ass? That's basically what it was. And then she just kept going on and on and on with her egos.
Well, he did too.
The egos.
Because he wasn't going to give in.
But he was a little bit more subtle about it. She was just, it's just the way she came off.
She seems like a very pompous individual, but she also has busted her tail to get where she is, and she was basically groomed to be royalty since day one, since she was born. And, she had to live, I think part of it is living under that asshole brother of hers. And she decided, hey, I'm not going to take any man's shit again. And so here we are, and I think she feels like she has something to prove because of all the crap that she did. She laid it all out. She laid out every individual detail of what's happened to her up to this point, and you can kind of see where she's coming from.
Yeah, but then Jon Snow's been through his own. Most of his family's dead.
He saw White Walkers.
Exactly, that too.
But nobody believes him. Well, Tyrion kind of does.
Jon Snow knows nothing.
I think, Tyrion eventually talks Daenerys Targaryen into letting them mine Dragonstone, or Dragon Glass at Dragonstone. And I think that's the first initial... we couldn't just expect them to hold hands and ride off into the sunset together this first episode. There has to be some building, baby steps.
I just didn't like the way she came off at all. She just came on like, pow.
Did she remind you of Cersei?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Nowhere near as bad as Cersei, but yeah.
Now seeing just the first initial meeting, seeing Jon Snow with Daenerys Targaryen for the first time, or even seeing Jon Snow reunite with Tyrion for the first time since season 1. What did you make of that? I'm assuming you were just fangirling like crazy because I know I was.
A little bit. I wasn't sure how I was gonna go. I was excited about him and Daenerys meeting, and then it's just like me.
It wasn't quite what we expected.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep using hand gestures. I can't help it.
Well, I would be, but I have a microphone in one hand and a glass of wine in the other. So you have the Unsullied going off to take Casterly Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen the other group basically get their ass kicked at sea last episode, and they just find out that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the reunion between Sansa and Bran Stark, and she basically, I see you got a little emotional over that one.
I did, but then because
it was very short-lived.
It was because he didn't act as emotional as she did, and that kind of bothered me.
I was actually bothered that Arya hasn't showed up yet, because Arya was on horseback.
Arya wasn't even in this episode.
Yeah. Arya was on horseback going from wherever she was in the north, like the Wall. She was going from the Wall to Winterfell.
Mm-hmm.
Or wherever she was. I think she was no, she wasn't at the Wall. Bran was at the Wall. Arya Stark was at south, and she was on horseback. I'm sure she was in a hurry to get back to Winterfell once she found out that Jon Snow was king of the north. So she wanted to go see him. But somehow a woman pulling a handicapped Bran on a cart managed to make it to Winterfell. I mean, hell, Jon Snow even managed to make it all the way to Dragonstone, and they still made it to I got the weird feeling there's some stuff going on kind of out of order here. Like maybe, I don't know. It's like, I think for storytelling's sake, they may be skipping a few things and rearranging.
But now you wonder when Jon Snow is going to return again.
I think
it's like he feels like a prisoner right now.
Yeah, and I think once they get their dragon glass, that something will happen that will cause them all to happily go their separate ways. Hey, we're allies now. I honestly think Dragonstone is going to end up being attacked before Jon Snow gets out of there.
I almost thought that was who was about to be attacked. I didn't notice it was the Tyrells until they.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
I thought it was literally Dragonstone, and I was like, oh my god.
Tyrion Lannister apparently liked his women so much that he, whenever they were building Casterly Rock, and I honestly thought that the place was a lot older than that. I didn't think that Tyrion had a hand in building the freaking place.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of having a good, steady keep, Tyrion had a tunnel built in to the side of the mountain to where women could take a boat in there and climb up a ladder into his little quarters, up through the sewers. And so they end up using that to completely take over, but I figure something like 10% of the army was there. And they're wondering where everybody's at, and come to find out the entire Casterly Rock army is headed to the home. I don't know what the home is, but it was of the Tyrells. And the girl, what was her name? Marjorie Tyrell was the queen for a little bit. Her grandmother?
I think it's her grandmother, yeah.
Yeah, her grandmother was there and sees the army approaching and was like, well, hell. So Jaime Lannister shows up with the whole crew and runs up in there, and they take it pretty easily. And he basically says, hey, out of mercy, Cersei was wanting to kill you, all these weird, these torturous ways and everything. The old woman. And
kind of like her son.
Yeah, basically. She says something along the lines of, well, okay, she drinks the wine with the poison in it that he gives her. All right, we're good. And as, I guess, right before the poison takes effect, she admits to Jaime that she's the one that poisoned Joffrey back in season 4, season 3 or 4. And basically tells with her last breath to him that be sure to tell Cersei that she's the one that did it.
That was great.
That made an otherwise,
that was great.
Yeah, it made an otherwise sad like, oh crap, I can't believe she's dying. But she guzzles the wine like crazy, the poisonous wine, and then she's like,
I guess she knew either way she's gonna die. So
yeah, and she wanted it to be quick with the poison, make sure it was painless, and then just to add insult to injury to freaking Jamie, she's like, oh yeah, I poisoned Joffrey. Be sure to tell Cersei that I'm the one that did it.
I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I got to sit there and watch it all. Oh yay!
Yeah. I mean that was great. That was one of the most satisfying. That was almost as satisfying as seeing Joffrey poisoned. I mean, it really was. It was, it was really fun.
But she
go
sat
ahead.
there and talked to him like, he knows that Cersei is bad for him, and he's still going along with it anyway.
We got somebody on here named White Mage says the Lannisters dominated with the last minutes of the episode. Even with losing Casterly Rock. The Lannisters did dominate, but it was kind of neat to see, the old lady, just kind of... Huh?
Beowulf said, hey.
Oh, yeah, Beowulf. I talked to him earlier. Welcome to the stream, Beowulf. Then remember, if anybody's on here, we're doing a kind of a live recap and discussion. If you have any comments, drop in and say hello and kind of, give us some thoughts. We're also looking forward...
watched it. You don't want any spoilers.
Yeah, I would say if you haven't watched the episode yet, you might want to get away because we're spoiling the hell out of it. This is a recap episode. Yeah. Think The Talking Dead, but with Game of Thrones. And Sarah's been kind enough to join me on this, and we were having a really good time, just kind of hanging out. I'm drinking wine. Why didn't you didn't want anything to drink? In Game of Thrones fashion, it was like, I'm just surprised you didn't have an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
But yeah, remember if you haven't subscribe because if you live in the lower 48 United States, we're doing a Loot Crate giveaway, and all you have to do is subscribe and send a screenshot of that subscription to our Facebook page or unnentries@gmail.com along with your t-shirt gender and size, and we're going to be drawing August 13th for a Loot Crate winner. But yeah, the whole deal with Bran and Sansa meeting again for the first time in 6 seasons. It lasted all of about 30 seconds. She hugged him, everything was good, and then he's like, oh, I need to get back to business. I'm the three-eyed raven, I got other stuff to do. Almost reminded me of, because everybody's looking forward to these reunions. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to see everybody, get back together, first time since season 1, but at the same time, we got to see Arya last episode reunite with her direwolf, and they had both changed so much that it's no longer feasible. They don't have that same dynamic that they did back in season 1. And I just dropped my phone.
Sharon says, hey, talking about my show, GOT.
Yes, I hope that she has watched it. Because that would help. And also, look at Sarah's Game of Thrones shirt.
Oh. No. Don't.
I'm just saying, look at your Game of Thrones shirt.
What are you looking at? Sorry. Okay. It's all good.
Are you sure you haven't had anything to drink tonight?
No, this is Sarah all natural.
Oh, God.
This is all natural.
All caught up as of Friday. Okay, so y'all are talking the new episode.
We are talking the episode that literally just ended about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So you might want to tread lightly on this one. Are you okay?
Why?
You haven't gotten any of the Queen's Justice, have you? The poison,
No.
No, I don't think she'd be doing that if she got the poison.
No, I'll be finding something to throw.
She said, "Oh crap, bye."
Yeah, see you later. That is funny. I do appreciate you coming by, though. We just kind of took a spoiler-free moment, to just kind of let everybody know about our Loot Crate giveaway and, to subscribe to our channel because we're literally 2 subscribers away from 400. It would really mean a lot to me if we were to cross that threshold tonight. But see what else happened tonight. I honestly thought we got to see Theon Greyjoy pulled up.
Question: What role do you think will Littlefinger have with Sansa?
You know, the question was, now read that again. Amber's off screen.
Why can't you? What role do you think Littlefinger had with Sansa?
Okay, that came from
White Mage.
Yeah, that came from White Mage, user White Mage on YouTube. What do you think? What do you think Littlefinger's going to do with Sansa?
I don't know. He's very hard to trust. I mean, he gave her to Ramsay. I'm really not sure.
She knows.
I feel like he was still kind of creeping on her, and then it's like, oh wait, by the way, here Bran's here, and that just kind of like broke it all apart.
But she almost seemed like she may have been buying into it for a second until they called her away. And I'm like, come on, Sansa, you've got to be better than that.
She don't.
I mean, she knows that Littlefinger gave her to Ramsay, and for whatever reason is still. Maybe
I wouldn't listen to him. I really wouldn't. I don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't trust him as far as I can throw. I hadn't trusted him since day one. But
he's just sneaky.
You know, just kind of off subject a little bit. What is your favorite Littlefinger moment? And I've already got mine lined up before.
My favorite one would be when he's dead.
Okay, something that has already happened.
I don't like him. Although I take that back. Okay, I really don't like him, but I loved it when he pushed what's her name into the
Catelyn Stark's sister. Pushed her through the moon gate or whatever.
Yes, that was a great moment.
That was this is actually kind of weird, but my favorite moment was like in season 1 when he was running the brothel. And like his prized prostitute came up to him, and she had just gotten done with a client, and she had kind of a little glob on the side of her lip, and he had like some kind of dignitary that was there, and he wanted to give him his best woman, and so he was looking at her. Oh yeah, you look good. Oh, he like got a cloth and kind of wiped it off her lip, and then sent her over to the guy, and they started making out. That is Lonnie's favorite Littlefinger moment.
Oh God.
Anyway, back to this current.
Littlefingers.
Back. I've actually been called Littlefinger, so.
Okay.
No, it's a Game of Thrones reference.
Okay.
My cousin, what was it? We did the Facebook, one of those little online quizzes, where it's like what Game of Thrones character desperately wants to be with you, and mine said Arya Stark, and I was like, well, she's 20 years old right now, so okay. And I was like, man, this is awesome. And my cousin Nick popped up, and he was like, yeah, you do have that creepy Littlefinger vibe. I was like, I don't know. I beg to differ on that. Not too creepy, right?
No.
Right, Amber? Amber's off screen. She's over there kind of watching the chat for us and being very helpful. Kudos to Amber. And she also kind of weathered through Game of Thrones because she had to watch the first 2 seasons and then immediately jumped right ahead to season 7. So, yeah, I don't think she really cares enough. But on into this episode, The Queen's Justice. Let's see, what else happened? We got to see him pull Theon Greyjoy up into the boat. And that was really all that happened.
Yeah, they just kind of left him there. Like,
like, they were like, okay, we saved you. Screw off.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I don't even understand what the point of dragging him out of the water was. If they're just going to just like lay him there.
Just to get him up there. I guess he was an ally. And so, they were like, hey, one more body, I guess, even though you're going to run at the first sign of trouble. But there were articles going around this week that said the reason he ran was because he is suffering from some massive PTSD.
He probably is.
And, I mean, think about it. He was tortured, was basically made...
He thought his name was Reek.
Yeah. His genitals were cut off, and just that, without the torture, would absolutely scar me for life. But then he was, we're talking probably a year or more under Ramsay, just constantly berated and constantly treated like garbage and probably tortured in between. And then he was even made to watch as Ramsay defiled his sister. And just a number of different things, and like a year of that, just constant, torture, basically. you can't really blame the guy. I mean, you want to, because you're like, God, you're in the perfect, place to sway the story one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't. He's really, until he finds a better place mentally, for lack of a better word, is like probably the most useless fighter in the whole series right now.
Yeah.
So we got extra.
What?
Oh, Neil Beowulf says that his wife wants to know the status of the current single Sarah date competition. Do we have any updates on that, Amber?
There's been no entries.
No entries yet? Okay. Well, it is actually our pinned post on our Facebook page, so get on there if you
It's got
would.
one reaction and one like on the pin post. Yeah.
And that's actually pretty good, seeing as Facebook tends to block most of the traffic to YouTube posts.
Mm-hmm.
So that got a lot of traffic, all things considered. Congratulations.
Didn't do anything.
Oh my God, the wine's almost gone and the bottle's empty.
Oh no, whatever shall we do? Sorry.
Yeah, but I could probably make this last for a minute. But we were talking, the battle of the egos, and
Yeah, that
there's some
was-
other.
I didn't think it was ever gonna stop.
Well, Tyrion is doing a dang good job as Hand of the Queen right now.
He is.
Dang good job.
He is.
Got to give kudos to him. I feel like we're missing
He's
something.
kind of like the voice of reason.
We're missing some kind of plot point that happened tonight that I'm.
We also forgot about the sands. How Cersei has them in the dungeon.
Oh yeah, the sand snakes. The older woman, and we're also remind me we're going to talk about Samwell Tarly after this.
Yeah, the Martells.
But yeah, oh God, yeah, the sand ladies down there. That is rough. That was probably one of the most
Yeah.
emotionally intense scenes because Cersei is talking to him about because the sand snakes had killed Cersei's daughter with poison.
Which I really did not. I just thought that was so stupid. I mean, I know she's a Lannister, but she didn't even do anything. I don't feel like she was worthy of dying like that
Yeah.
by the hand of them.
Oh, we got to talk about Euron too. Euron Greyjoy. So let's put two more things on the to-do list here. But yeah, Cersei apparently kisses the daughter, and she has them both chained up, and she has the mother and the daughter, the sand snakes, chained up, and in the dungeon. And so she kisses the daughter, and then has the old dude that's with her give her a poison antidote. And come to find out, she had poison on her lips. She kissed the daughter. Now the daughter has anything from minutes to days to live.
And her mother sits there and gets to watch her die.
They are chained up to where they are literally this far from each other, and the mother is going to have to sit there and watch her die. Do you think that someone will show up to rescue either one of them? Or is this one of those deals where we're actually... It almost... Did you see the
No.
Walking Dead episode where Andrea was strapped to the chair and Milton was turned into the... It was like right at the end of the governor deal.
Yes.
That's kind of what this is
Yes.
reminding me of, except, she's not going to turn into anything. But she's going to have to sit there and watch her daughter die.
I knew she's going to do something to her daughter. I thought maybe she's just going to, bash her head in or slit her throat or something. I knew she's going to do something to her daughter. I didn't know she's going to do that, though. So, that was, yeah. I think that's going to be rough than, any, really easy killing.
Oh, yeah, of course, because you don't know
Yeah.
when it's going to happen. It's just going to suddenly take hold.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it's probably that rough poison, too, that they got Joffrey
Ooh.
with. It's not going to be the painless,
Oh, no.
just old drop dead type stuff. But that's what we have to look forward to on that end. Also, right before that, Euron Greyjoy shows up with the sand snakes, and he's parading them through town, and people are throwing rotten food at them and everything. And
Kind of like when Cersei came through, except they weren't naked.
true. And he presents them, like rides his horse right up into the throne room and presents Cersei with them and basically tells Cersei, hey, I want to go to bed with you. And makes it a point to say it in front of Jaime, which is crazy because he knows that he's the number one guy now. Like he knows it. And, you know, I got the weird feeling that Cersei technically doesn't really love Jaime. Not in that way.
I think she's kind of stringing him along.
Using him.
Mm-hmm.
And, what we got?
Oh, God.
Neil Beowulf, you're the man. He said, and I quote, lucky bastard has sand snakes. All I got is a trouser snake. All right. I don't even have anything for that. That's funny though. I'll give you credit. It was funny enough that I read it live on the air. But yeah, we've got that, and she actually, you know, she basically tells him, okay, you're gonna get it. You know, she might as well just spread her legs right there on the Iron Throne. But she later approaches Jaime in his room and
attacked his trouser snake.
She did, because he was going to say no, and then she dropped his pants and
Like, oh, it's too late
did
to
things.
go now.
Yeah, she did things. We'll just.
As you said, well, that usually gets things started.
Yeah, I mean, straight up, I was like, there ain't no way he's going to say no to that. But and I also thought that, you know, it was weird that Cersei is typically, you know, they've always been very careful to hide their relationship, and she let a handmaiden in.
Yeah, she's like, deuces, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, she's like, I don't even care that anybody knows we're hooking up, we're brother and sister. And the lady comes in and like immediately looks over at the bed and sees him, and she's like, oh.
Well,
But
okay.
in all honesty, like I was saying during the episode, everybody knew already. Everybody knew when Joffrey was still alive, just nobody had the balls to say anything.
Did they probably get him chopped off?
They really wouldn't have the balls to say anything at that point. But, yeah, she basically got his allegiance back really quick, because, you know, he was thinking about probably deserting at that point. And he ends up leading the army to Casterly, or to the home of the Tyrells. Wish I could remember the name of that place. And
Highgarden.
Huh?
Highgarden.
Boom! There we go. Mm-hmm. Sarah, and you didn't even have your phone for that. Good job! Because I completely forgot.
Yeah, I completely forgot. Probably that's the one. You can tell.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it makes for a better show. But finally, the last thing we're going to talk about, and really one of the most interesting, was the Samwell Tarly scenes. And there go the cats. Yeah, Samwell Tarly turns out, and this was completely against all of my assumptions, Samwell Tarly managed to actually cure Jorah Mormont. Yeah. He managed to cure him by cutting off all the infected skin and applying a medicated balm to it, and he seemed to heal up pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Like, that stuff was hardcore. Like, I wish I could get me some of that. But yeah, they said, from what I understand, that article that you sent me, they did confirm that it healed him, and yeah, I really thought that, you know, he would think that he healed him, and then come to find out it would come back, and then, you know, oh, you know, we should have done this other simple thing. But no, it healed him. I mean, granted, he's scarred up, but it's a lot better than that nasty dragon scale.
And he's not going to, like,
well, I mean, he says, wish they had the budget to show the battles of Highgarden.
I know.
It was, I think they really looked like they used all the budget money on the quick little battle at Casterly Rock. That was cool just to see them swarming through the halls and stuff. That was neat. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen Highgarden But really, it was just a quick battle. I mean, they just ran. It wasn't even really a battle. They just ran in, took over, and whoop-de-doo. I mean, she even asked, did her people fight well or something? He's like, oh. Like he didn't even want to tell her.
Can be expected. That was his response.
Yeah. He's like, he didn't even want to tell her. Yeah, we came in, kicked ass, took names, and that was all she wrote. It wasn't even a battle. I wonder how Samwell will react to his father working with the Lannisters. Ooh. Oh, that's a very interesting little topic. What do you think? I'm done with the wine now. That's got to say something. That is a very interesting thought. I think that Sam has gotten to the point now where he may actually have a little bit of a backbone, knowing that he has helped Cure. He's been a member of the Night's Watch. He basically has a woman and a kid now, and I think all of that may have kind of morphed, changed him from the point where he's, the one that's gonna, because they did go see his family that one time. Was it not last season?
I don't think it didn't go very well, did it?
No, it didn't. And they basically just ended up leaving like in the middle of the night.
Because it was cold and it was snowing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And but yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm not 100% sure if they'll actually show them meeting up again. I really don't think Sam will end up crossing paths with his Bourne family again. I think
that last time might have been like the last time.
Because it did seem to have some closure on it. Like, he went home, saw that his place was no longer there. Now, they may run across each other if he ends up back.
They just wrote him off.
Yeah.
That's what it, yeah.
Now, there's always the possibility that he could go back, stay with Jon Snow, fight with the North, and then run into him on the battlefield. He may even have to be the one to put a spear through his dad's heart. Boy, wouldn't that be some craziness? I mean, that's just me coming up. But yeah, he's cured Jorah, and now Jorah seems to think that he's going to go back to Daenerys. So that
Daenerys has a new hand, so
Daenerys. Well, he never was really her hand. He was her protector, her bodyguard, her. He never was really much of an advisor. He kind of taught her things. He was the guy that was there whenever she saw something she didn't understand. He was like, "Oh, these are dragon eggs." Like, he was actually advising her.
Like he was her voice of reason a little bit, and now Tyrion is kind of like that.
Yeah, but I think Tyrion is more giving her advice. He was more of a teacher. Because remember, he was the one telling her what the customs were and what the items were that she was receiving at her wedding to Count Drago. What did I say? Yeah. But yeah, they. I mean, I don't know. I'm doing good. I promise. But that's pretty much it, right? I mean, we've covered just about everything. I don't want to carry this on any further than it has to.
No, but the reaction to Jon Snow and the dragons was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, there was the one scene, before we leave. It was right towards the beginning of the episode. Jon Snow, all the people with him, and then Tyrion and all of Daenerys' people are walking up the steps to Dragonstone, and the dragon swoops down and literally 8 feet above the ground, and all of Jon Snow people drop to the ground in fear, and Tyrion and everybody else is just standing there like, oh, I'd like to say you get used to them, but
just a normal day.
Yeah, he's like, I'm still not quite there yet. So but anyway, yeah, I appreciate everybody coming in, and we're going to try to make this a weekly thing, at least through the end of the season, for Game of Thrones. 10 o'clock Eastern time, right after Game of Thrones ends on the East Coast. We're going to hop on here and do a quick live show. This is going about 30 minutes, so that's about normal for one of our little Game of Thrones discussions. Next episode, look to be more of the same. Just it's kicked into high gear.
These three episodes have been really good.
Yeah, these 3 episodes have been awesome. What do you give on a scale of 1 to 10? What do you give this episode?
A 9.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of there because it wasn't quite perfect. I was actually a little bit bothered by the the inability of Jon and Daenerys to come to some kind of agreement. I feel like there was a lot of time wasted on the back and forth.
There was.
But otherwise, it was a good episode. It was just enough to knock off a point. So I will totally agree with you on that one. Any final thoughts on the episode or anything coming up?
I don't think so. Do you know how many episodes are supposed to be this season? Because I know they're supposed to be shorter.
It is a lot shorter. Give me just a second and I will find out.
It's this season and then there's another season next year, right?
Yes. There ain't no telling when that'll come on though.
Yeah.
We're going to look at that real quick. How many seasons there are. Maybe
Got
somebody
your phone out.
Yeah, maybe somebody could come in and let me know. Let's see. Game of Thrones season 7 is going to be the episodes. We're looking at 7 episodes.
7 episodes. Okay.
The next episode is going to be called The Spoils of War. Holy crap. That's going to be...
Did you get hooked up with Discord? Beowulf?
Is that... No, I haven't. We did not have time. We were watching Game of Thrones, but I'm going to do that first thing in the morning.
What?
As soon as I wake up. Oh, me and Beowulf had a discussion going on while we were watching Rogue One earlier.
Oh.
But anyway.
That was awesome, by the way.
Your Rogue One was pretty fun. We're going to have to do a video on it eventually. We just ain't got time tonight. But yeah, Game of Thrones season 7, episode 3 was amazing. 4 more episodes left.
I know.
Which that sucks.
Yeah.
That absolutely sucks. But anyway, great episode. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, with the Game of Thrones recap, and hope to see everybody then. I'm also going to try to do maybe a video this week about something Game of Thrones related. Maybe like some fan theories or something. But anyway, that's it. Say goodbye, Sarah.
Bye.
All right, anyway, we're Untitled Nerd Network. Brought to you by Infinity. Why are y'all laughing at me?
That look.
That look you keep giving.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's that drunk Lonnie look that you get.
That's amazing. All right, well, anyway, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Single Sarah.
And we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hickson, Tennessee. This coming Wednesday is New Comic Book Day, and I'm definitely going to be there tomorrow to pick up my new issues. You got your pull box set up yet?
No.
Oh. Anyway. Also, keep in mind, check out UntitledNerdNetwork.com. We're doing comic book reviews and trying to update it a little bit more. So that way, you kind of keep an eye out on our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We're all across social media. So if it's a decent social media outlet, hey, we're there. But anyway, we'll see everybody later. This has been Lonnie and Sarah's Game of Thrones review, Season 7, Episode 3, titled The Queen's Justice.